Hello, welcome to my channel and thanks for tuning into this video. Today I'm talking about my April monthly favorites. So if you'd like to see me talk about my favorite makeup and hair care and skincare for the month and use some of that makeup too, just keep on watching. All right, starting out with the Makeup Forever Reboot foundation. I have this in the shade Y218. I've been really interested in this foundation for quite a while, and then I ended up getting it during the Sephora sale, and I really like it. It's just a perfect kind of like everyday foundation. It's really easy. It works really well. It's kind of a light medium, buildable to medium coverage, I would say. And it just has a beautiful finish. It's a little bit dewier than a sort of natural finish, I would say, but it's not extremely dewy. It just looks really fresh and healthy and like your skin is nicely moisturized. It's just kind of the foundation that I pick when I don't know what I want. This is a great go-to. All right, foundation is on, and I should mention I used my Westman Atelier blender brush, which I love for foundation, but it also applies really equally well with a sponge. So I like to use the Real Techniques big orange sponge, and it applies great with that too. So next on to concealer, I'm going to use the Armani Luminous Silk. And this, I would say this one and the Kosas have been my favorites this month. And I just chose this one today because it has a little bit of a deeper tone than my Kosas one. I just wanted a concealer that wasn't going to be too brightening today. It's just a reliable concealer, and kind of like the foundation, it's one that I can just go to when I don't know what I want to choose. I know that this one is going to work and it's gonna do what I want it to do and look nice all day long. For powder, I'm going to be using the Kosas Cloud Set. This is definitely my favorite powder of the month. It's just really lightweight. It doesn't really provide much coverage. It just slightly sort of mattifies and blurs out where you put it, but it still allows some shine and glow to show through. So today I'm just going to be using it on my T-zone and a little bit on my chin. But you could set your whole face with it and you'd still have a little bit of glowiness showing through from what if you have any glowy products on underneath it. So that's good for powder. Now I'm going to go into bronzer. I'm going to be using this Kosas again, another Kosas product. And this is their baked bronzer. This is the shade Light. I really like this because although it is a powder bronzer, it has a really nice glowy finish. So it almost can kind of look a little bit like a cream on the skin. And I really like the shade of it too. It's nice and light, so, but not too light. Like it's not as light as the Charlotte Tilbury lightest one. It shows up a little bit more than that, but it's still lighter than most of my other bronzers. All right, now I'm gonna get into eyes, and my eyeshadow pick for this month is the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette. So I got this on sale, 30% off from Glamlite. I was waiting for a sale, and I'm so happy with it. The quality of the shadows is really good, and for pastels and bright colorful shadows, this palette is really great. Both the mattes and the shimmers, all the ones that I've used, and I've used quite a lot of them, have been really just excellent quality. So I want to do kind of like a turquoisey sea green kind of look today. So I'm going to be focusing on this shade, and probably this shade too. So I'm gonna start out with Mint Chocolate, this one right here. And I'm gonna take my jumbo blender from Sonia G right into that color. Just kind of load it up right on the brush, and then I'm gonna put it all over my lid. Now I'm gonna take my soft shader into the same shade and just make sure it's really nice and saturated. This brush is denser than the Jumbo blender, so just able to pick up a little bit more product, and it can also help me to get it into the smaller areas, like into the inner portion of the eye. Okay, now that I have that color on, I want to go into that slightly deeper version of it, which is called Green Tea, onto the same brush, soft shader, and just create a little bit more depth in the outer corner. It's not really, it's still probably all gonna look like one color, but this is just gonna give it a little bit more dimension. All right, and I want some shimmer as well, so I'm going to take this greenish kind of shade here called Birthday Cake. If you heard that groaning, it was my dog Xander. He's looking out the window and he wants to get outside. So now he's a little bit frustrated, I think, that he can't go out right now. So keeping with the same brush, soft shader, and I'm gonna just put this kind of pat on that shimmer on more on the inner part of the lid, the middle and inner half. And you can really vary these shimmers in terms of the impact. You can get a very strong impact, you know, like I would think you would get from a Natasha Denona shimmer, like a really strong kind of metallic look, or you can just go lightly with it like I'm doing here on top of a matte shadow and just get a nice little sort of glimmer. All right, so there are the lids all finished, and on the lower lash line, I'm not gonna go with the green or anything like that. I think I just want a neutral color on the lower lash line. So I'm gonna start out with my bronzer first and see what that does. I may need to deepen it up a little bit though. Okay, so that's with the bronzer. I think I do need a little bit more color there. So I'm going to go back into the ice cream palette, and I think I'll take the shade Peanut Butter right there. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the eyes. I'm gonna finish up with some liner and mascara, and then I'll be right back. Okay, the eyes are all finished. I've worn that ice cream palette a couple times in my videos, I think, at least once, but I've worn it more in some of my Instagram posts too. So if you were to go on my Instagram page, you'd see a few more pictures with using that palette. Now for blush, I'm using the Hermès blush. This is the shade Rose Blush. It's kind of the peachy coral tone. And it's hard to consider this a favorite because I've only had it for about a week. But I do really like these blushes, and I have worn them several times over the last week or so of having them. And I really like this color. I think this shade and Rose Ombre are my favorites of the shades that I have. At least that's my thought right now on them. So I'm using my Sonia G Classic Face, and I haven't used this brush with this blush formula yet, but I'm really enjoying it. It picks up a bit more product than the Soft Cheek, and a bit less product than the Hermès blush brush, so it's a kind of a really nice happy medium. Okay, now for lips. I already put lip liner on. I used the Victoria Beckham 02. That's just kind of a holy grail. I don't really want to talk about it as a monthly favorite because it's just a lifetime favorite, I think. I wanted to, for my lips, use a couple of glosses. So the first one is this Fenty cream gloss, and this is the shade Honey Waffles. It's really an interesting color, and I love the formula of these Fenty cream glosses. They feel really nice and nourishing and smooth, and they have a good amount of pigment going on with them too. But I think the thing that's neat about them is because they're a gloss, they do have a little bit of sheerness to them. Even though they're quite pigmented, you can still see a little bit of your lip color coming through. And I think that sometimes makes it a little bit easier to wear sort of more different colors. There's like a mauvey color that they have, and this one's a little bit unusual for me at least. But even with those unusual colors that I think would be a lot harder for me to wear in an opaque formula, I can experiment with them and play around with them in the gloss formula because they're still allowing some of the natural lip color to show through. So that's what Honey Waffles looks like, and I just kind of want to blot a little bit of it off because I'm going to top it with another gloss, which is a Tower 28 gloss. This is a little mini from a set that came out for the holidays, and this one is the shade Fire, and these are just beautiful glosses. If you want kind of like a jelly, I think they're even called jelly lip glosses, but if you want that jelly kind of texture and that kind of bright pop of color, but again, still with the sheerness on the lips, these Tower 28 glosses are really nice. And they feel really good too, sort of similar to the Fenty. They feel really nourishing and they're not sticky at all. Last but not least, it's time for highlighter, and I've chosen the Westman Atelier Lit Up Highlight Stick in the shade Nectar. This is just a fabulous highlighter. I've talked about this several times on my channel before too, and I like to think of it as kind of glass skin in a tube. It gives a really nice glossy and glassy, dewy look to the skin. It's not sticky. It does take a couple minutes to kind of set down into the skin, but it does set down, and I find it lasts a really long time. It lasts pretty much all day. All right, so this is the completed look using some of my April makeup favorites. Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a few other favorites for skincare and hair care that I've been really loving this month. For my hair care favorites, I've really been loving the Oribe Moisture Cream. And this I put in right after I come out of the shower when my hair is still wet. And I put a decent amount in my palms, rub them together, and just kind of press it into the hair. And my hair is quite dry, sort of, particularly in the bottom half. And I just find this adds nice moisture back into my hair, and it also adds a little bit of shine. I also really like that it adds that moisture without weighing down my hair at all or making it feel greasy. The other hair care product that I've really been loving is the Oribe Aprés Beach Wave and Shine Spray. This is Oribe's take on a sea salt spray, I think. But unlike every other sea salt spray I've ever tried, this one feels really nice in the hair. It doesn't make it feel grimy or sticky, or it doesn't give that weird sort of combination of feeling drying, but then also looking sort of greasy that every other sea salt spray I've ever used has given me. So this is just really great. It just gives your hair a tiny little bit more hold, a little bit of texture and volume, but it feels really still nice and healthy in the hair. And for skincare, I wanted to show a few things. The first is this Mer The Infused Lotion. So this is a sample size, and I don't think I'll buy the full size of it because it is so expensive, but I got this sample with another order at one point, and I've really been loving it this month. It just gives you a really nice boost of moisture really quickly and feels really smooth and soft on the skin. The Luna Night Oil from Sunday Riley is another favorite that I've been using pretty much every night this month, and I talked about this in my Sephora sale recommendations video as well, but it's just, I've noticed such a big difference very quickly with using this. So I found that it has smoothed out my skin's texture. It's helped to even out the tone of my skin as well. And I feel that it's also really reduced the appearance of my pores too. So that's been really great. But one thing I've been noticing with it is that since I'm using it every night, and it's a retinol product, I was noticing that my skin was starting to feel a little bit drier when I was getting up in the morning. So what I've been doing is actually I put my regular moisturizer on underneath it. So that's the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream. Then I put the oil on, And then after that's soaked in for about half an hour or so, I go in with this Nivea Creme. And this is, you know, very affordable. It's been said to be a dupe for the original La Mer cream. And I think certainly in terms of the texture and even the scent of it, it could be considered that. It's just been really great for putting a pretty thick layer of it on after that oil has had a chance to soak in. And it just helps me to retain the moisture in my skin so that when I wake up, it's not feeling dried out at all from that retinol product. I think that's about it for my video today. I hope you enjoyed watching me use some of my makeup favorites from the month and just talk a little bit about my skincare and hair care favorites for April. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to see those below. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would really love for you to do so. I still have the giveaway going on for the Hermès blush. So if you watch my Hermès blushes part 2 video, that's where the giveaway is running, and it's going to be closing pretty soon on May 1st. But you still have a chance to enter into that if you're interested. So that's it. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.